And so Lee, we're going to be looking at learning outcome 3. So that is be able to promote diversity, equality and inclusion. And there's 3 assessment criteria in here. So 3.1, explain how person-centered ways of working support equality and inclusion within the workplace. So before we start this off, I'll just explain what person-centered way is, some key terminology, and then we'll go on to there. 3.2 is communicate to others methods of promoting equality and inclusion within the workplace. And 3.3 is support others to actively promote equality, diversity and inclusion within the workplace. So let's make a start. So like I said, we're just going to look at a bit of terminology. So we're going to look at what person-centered approach is. So a person-centered approach is where the person is placed at the center of everything. Do you know, like we talked about yesterday, where I talked about how important person-centered care is, and it means that a patient that goes in, they can actually, you know, advocate for themselves. They can actually say that, yes, I agree with this care, or please explain to me. And they can say that I can do this or I can't do this. So, you know, they're at the center of the care. They're not just being told what to do, they're actually being involved. So,
well, it's their life, innit? So
exactly. No, 100%.
Did they have a say? Did they have a say in their life? It's yeah, that makes sense.
Exactly.
Obviously,
Yeah.
the focus of attention as well. So
because like I said yesterday, there was times when I was younger, I didn't know that we could speak to the doctor and ask questions about, you know, why something is happening. So it really helps that you know that this is available for you. So we've got examples of person-centered approaches. So you're being given a choice of what food you want and what time you want it. You're deciding together with the patient about what they're going to wear. So if there's somebody who's within your care and they can be a bit indecisive, instead of showing them a full wardrobe of clothing, why don't you select 2 outfits and say, which one would you like to wear today? And they can still got their choice, but it's a little bit more limited. So there's ways that you can do it from there. You know, changing what time people go to sleep and what time they wake up, depending on how productive they are. So if you find somebody is really productive first thing in the morning, get them to wake up a little bit earlier. But if you find that somebody is a bit of a grump until 11 a.m., let them sleep in for an extra hour. It'll help them. So we've got person-centered values. So these are things like individuality, independence, privacy, partnership, choice, dignity, respect and rights. And this is everything that you're already familiar with. I've been talking to you over these past few weeks. You're a very well-informed person. You know your rights, you know your knowledge. So these things you've already got a good base about. So when we do person-centered care, it's done in a non-judgmental manner. So you're not judging people for having different needs or thoughts. You're encouraging diversity. And then you're making sure that care plans are personalized so that you can reflect what the person likes, what they don't like, what their history is, what their beliefs are. Now, person-centered care will actually help you to promote equality and you're respecting their diversity. So you're helping people feel valued because you're listening to them. You're not just telling them what they're going to do. You're asking their opinions. They're really in the center of everything. So now we're going to go on to the assessment criteria. So 3.1, explain how person-centered ways of working support equality and inclusion within the workplace. So when we talked about person-centered care, we're talking about how it provides care and support. And it's focused on the person and it's focused on their needs. So if you're saying to if you have a young child come in and they're an asthma sufferer, they're not going to, most likely, they're not going to be able to apply, take the medication on their own. They're going to need support. So you're going to have to look at their own needs, what they cannot do, and then you're going to have to involve their parents or their carers with it. Now, I have a very young nephew who's 6 years old. Now, he suffers from asthma. Now, he used to have those particular normal type of inhalers that you just You squeeze from the top, and it'll get blown into your mouth. So that was the best thing for him. But recently he was given this other powder form, circular type of inhaler, where it had to be shaken and he had to physically suck at it. But he doesn't have that lung capacity and he doesn't know how to take it in. So he wasn't getting enough medication. So his mum had to go and speak to the doctor and had to go and get it changed again. So these type of things have to be taken into effect. Can they actually apply this medication for themselves? Have they got the capability for it? So you do need to make sure that you're looking at that person. So with person-centered care, it helps you to support independence, honors your choice, improves your quality of life, it empowers residents, it enhances your dignity, and it also promotes your positive well-being. So working in a person-centered way, you need to be clear about your own understanding and also clear about the individuals you're supporting. So you're going to need to get to know them. Sometimes if you're with certain people for a long term, then you'll get to know them a lot better. But if you're only with them for a couple of hours when they've come in for patient care, it's a little bit more difficult. So you need to get to know their culture, their means of communication. Can they speak in English? Do they speak in a different language? Do they need an interpreter or do they just sign language? You'll get to know these things. You'll get to know their likes and dislikes, their family, their other professionals that are included with them. You'll get to know all of these things on long-term care. Now, there are 8 person-centered values that will help you support somebody in a person-centered way. So you've got independence. It'll help you to support the individuals and help them to do things for themselves. So even if it is walking to the bathroom by themselves or making a cup of tea or choosing what they want to wear, little things help. Individualities, so don't assume things about someone. Everybody's different. They're never going to fit in with you. You're not going to fit in with them. Everybody's allowed to make their own choices. You've got privacy, so everybody should have some time or some space to do something. So even if it's someone sitting down and having a phone conversation with their family members, or even playing a couple of games on their phone, everybody needs some time on their own. Then you've got partnership, so you're going to work in partnership with other professionals. So in some cases, you might have somebody who's in the care of social services. They might be under the care of the healthy weight team. So they might be under the care of the safeguarding team at their school. So there's a whole load of different services that might be involved. And then you've got choice. So everybody should be able to make their own choices. They should have enough information so that they can make informed choices themselves. Which is why when I always say that when you're going in for treatment, you should really know exactly what it is you're getting, why you're getting it, to be able to agree or disagree. You need to know what the benefits are and the disadvantages are, and then work from there. Dignity is also a big thing, because when we feel respected, it makes us more confident, it makes us comfortable. And again, it gives you that importance in society. If you're not getting respected because of your looks or your dress or the way you speak or what your ethnicity is, it's going to put you down. Then there's respect. So respect someone. Even if you're saying, thank you, sir, or, I had a wonderful time, or anything, just little simple comments, they will really help. And then you've got rights. So like we said earlier, everybody's got a right. You can choose what you wear, what you eat, and so on. And then the last point for this one is, rather than making conventional ways of medical recommendations, so rather than just sitting down and somebody telling you exactly what you're going to do, this is the medication you're going to take, you're going to take it at this time, and so on and on. You're actually sitting down and you're talking to your patient, to the service user. You're including them. So person-centered care model lets you include the person that is actually going to be getting the treatment or the services, and they're there to make sure that you're getting a joint decision and you're designing their care in agreement with them. This will also help you to make sure that their own preferences are being met. You know exactly what they need. So if there's any cultural issues, you can address them. If there's any dietary issues, you can address them as well. So Lee, did you have any questions or any comments for this section?
No, you explained it very well, and it makes perfect sense because at the end of the day, we all have free will, and we all have choices, and you know how somebody lives their life doesn't mean that you know they're going to live their life the same as the way that you live your life, because we're all unique and we're all made and built different, and that's why we have different characteristics. We have different, you know, the way we come across is different, the way we speak is different. It's just, you know, it's just
you can't put somebody. Yeah, you can't put everybody in the same casing and say everybody's the same, because they're not. Everyone's different. Everyone's got different needs. Exactly.
Yeah, that was good. I like that. I like what you said.
Thank you. So we've got 3.2. So communicate to others methods of promoting equality and inclusion within the workplace. So how do you promote equality, inclusion? You know, you're at work, you're in an organization, you're there on a daily basis. How look at other staff members when you're working there. Look at yourself when you're dealing with other, residents. See what you do and how other people treat each other, and see what type of methods do they use to make sure that everyone's included. So if somebody's sitting quietly, are they actually even offering to them, come and join us? Even if they end up saying, no, thank you, I'm okay, at least they know that they were welcome to join in. So the Health Foundation has got a framework, and it's got 4 principles of person-centered care. So they are affording people dignity, compassion, and respect, affording coordinated care, support, or treatment. Especially, the second point is especially good, especially if you've got lots of different services that you see. Offering personalized care, support, or treatment, and then supporting people to recognize and develop their own strengths and abilities and help them to live an independent and fulfilling life. So to make sure that all of these are met, there's a lot of policies that have been set in place, which you'll be able to access as well. So you can either ask somebody, if you want to have a look at what these policies are, you can ask somebody, one of the staff members, they'll give you access to the policies, or you can just go on the website, they're normally on there. So a well-designed policy will address vital issues. So it'll always have discrimination in it, and it will also promote a positive culture. So some policies that are important for here is equality and diversity and inclusion. We just call it the equality policy normally. Data protection, health and safety, safeguarding, and whistleblowing. So whistleblowing is where you've seen something that's happened is wrong. You're consistently seeing something that's happening that's wrong, and then you'll blow the top of it. You'll go and tell someone that this organization or this person is doing something. So when you're looking at policies, these need to be monitored and reviewed on a regular basis. So when you're monitoring and reviewing your policies, it makes sure that you're up to date and that you've got any changes that have been made about legislations that they, reflecting that. So your setting has got that reflected. Evaluating will make sure that the information is correct again, like I said, and it's also a legal requirement. So it's legally you have to keep your policies up to date, and that will be part of the HR department that does that. And then communicating the policy. So how your policy has changed. There's a new procedure that's come about, or there's a new way that you're meant to approach residents or service users. How do you know? You're working there. These things have changed. How should you know what this has happened? So as part of the management, they need to make sure that you communicate the policy properly. So policies can be told to people or given to people in a number of ways. So if changes are being made and you already know about them within the management, discuss what changes might be made. Discuss the update before it actually happens so everybody is aware of it. Get staff feedback on any new policies or procedures. Now, this is important because if there's a new procedure that you've got to do to give somebody personal care or to get them to do a particular task, you've got to know you're going to be carrying it out. You need to say that, yeah, this works for us or this doesn't work for us. This needs to be changed in a way that we can actually do it. And then also have training if it's necessary. So policies can also be given in a number of ways. So you can get a staff handbook. You can get them emailed to you. You can get them on the intranet. So your the enclosed internet on your organization. They're on the website as well. Sometimes if there's small changes that have happened, they'll be on the notice board. And again, you might get told in meetings. And then we've got whistleblowing and protected disclosures. So whistleblowing is when, like I said earlier, is when somebody feels that their employer is doing a wrong thing or they're not treating particular people or doing a procedure in the way it should be. So you will go and you will probably go to the CQC, which is the Care Quality Commission, and say to them that the management here is not working in the way they should do. I'm very worried. And it's done anonymously. It's not, they won't know who does it. So this wrongdoing is usually, but not always, related to something you witnessed at work. It might be something at another place that you've witnessed. Then you've got protected disclosures. So this is a qualifying disclosure under the Employment Act of 1996, and it's made by a worker, and when they reasonably believe that some serious wrongdoing is happening in a workplace. So it's like whistleblowing, but it's got a different name now. So this will normally happen if there's some sort of dangerous or illegal activity that's happened. So, for example, if you're in a care home and you know that there's some residents need injections or sort of medication, if you notice that the same injection is being used in multiple patients, that's a serious wrongdoing. It's illegal. It's dangerous. You know, you could be doing viral infections from one person to the other. So that is something that you would go and, talk about. And then the last slide on this, other ways that you can promote equality and inclusion are, so monitor out-of-date practice and make sure it reflects legislation changes. Now, this wouldn't really be something for somebody that's working as a manager. Normally, the human resources department will manage this, but it depends on how big a department you've got within your workplace. But as a manager, you would carry out annual audits, so you'd go and check the policies and you find out, if there's any gaps and if you can make any improvements to those gaps. So that was 3.2. Do you have any questions or anything you'd like to add on to here?
No, again, it was good. The points are spot on, and communication's a massive thing, especially in the workplace, because as managers, it's not just about us, you see, it's our agenda. It's about getting everyone involved and the staff as well. And if you are going to implement new things, get the staff involved, because they might disagree. They might agree. They might have more insight. They might say, well, it might not be better doing it this way, but if you try doing it this way, and this sounds really corny, but it's so true. There's no I in team. And
no.
Yeah, and obviously the whistleblowing and stuff like that it's spot on, because if there's something happening in the workplace that's wrong, then you have to say something, because it's not fair, it's not right. I get everything you said.
And the point you made about workers knowing more is because sitting in an office and dictating things is easy, but when you're physically having to do something, and if it's adding on 5 to 10 minutes of your care time, then that if it can be reduced, then you do something on a daily basis, better. So it is very important. So 3.3, support others to actively promote equality, diversity, and inclusion in the workplace. So there's lots of ways that you can actually do this. So again, you're going to communicate to others. So again, like you said, it's very important, communication. If you don't get communicated to, you don't know what's going on. So you need to have meetings. You can discuss policies or any changes. You can communicate via emails. I mean, I normally communicate with my colleagues through WhatsApp. We all work in different locations. I work from home. There's a few that work from the office. There's a couple others that work from home. So we're constantly in touch via email or, messaging on WhatsApp just to see what changes there are, or if I need help or if they need help, and any scheduling issues. We have handbooks, and again, notice boards I feel really important, because you'll go past, you'll read it quickly, and then you go on. Now, when I used to work in schools, we used to have, at the beginning of the year, we'd be given a handbook with policies in it. Now, we'd be given a week, and we'd need to read through these policies. And now they weren't big fat policies, they were just the main points of the policies that they were there. So they were easily doable. At the end of the week, we had to go to the office and we had to sign a piece of paper saying that, yes, I have read this policy, I've read this documentation. Now, this was to safeguard the school. The reason they did this was that at the end, if I went and did some behavior management on some students, and I did it in the wrong way, and it wasn't the way it should have been done, then they can come back to me and say, Afsha, you signed this policy. You should know what the policies are. So I can't turn around and say to them, oh, I didn't know what the policy was. I don't know why you're going on at me about. So it's really important to have your own back, especially within management. Then you've got training resources. So you might want to do training sessions. I really, really, really believe in training and studying and coaching and mentoring. So even if you end up looking at a YouTube video or reading a case study, or even looking on the internet for a bit of research, everything goes towards your learning. Then observation. Now, this is a task I'm going to give you as well, just as an offshoot. When you're at your residency, go around just on a daily basis, just see how do the staff members, what can you notice, what sort of things are they doing to promote equality, what are they doing to promote inclusion. Think about it yourself, and that will give you some nice pointers for when you're doing your assignment. And then the last slide on this, reflective. Now you do this anyway, which is what you told me yesterday. When you finish the lesson, you'll sit down, you'll meditate, you'll think. So reflect, think back, meditate, think back on your own experience. So you've done a task, for example. Now the young lad that has come in new, you've been talking to him. So think, maybe use that as an experience or something else as an experience. Think back on it and think, what did I do that was good? What did I do that was not good? What would I change next time? What can I improve? And again, you can look at case studies, that always helps to make sure that equality and diversity is being promoted. So look at case studying, see how it helps you to improve your practice and how you can implement new practice policies within that. So that was 3.3. So in total, we just looked at person-centered care, looked at policies and how you can communicate them. And then we looked at how to support others and how to actively promote equality, diversity, and inclusion. So, Lee, do you have anything you'd like to add or ask?
No. Again, it makes perfect sense. And yeah, meditation can be good sometimes to reflect on things, because there's situations that that happen in here, as you can imagine. That there's people from all sorts of different backgrounds, and people are coming in with like their own baggage of what they've been through and what they've seen and witnessed in their life. You know what I mean? So sometimes there can be a bit of conflict, there can be a bit of a debate, or there can be, you know what I mean? And sometimes often I go, when I'm involved in something, I'll go away and I'll think, well, if I wouldn't have spoke in this manner or this tone, maybe that wouldn't have made this person then reacts this way, and
Exactly.
do you know what I mean? And so I think it's learning, it's life's learning it's
It is, it's true. And it's nice to just get away for some peace and quiet, because I can imagine it can, with there's so many people around in the same place, it can get quite hectic. So you just need that time to just sit down and just even have a bit of quiet and relax. And I think meditating really helps with that as well. It helps calm you down and relax you. So that's fantastic. I'm just going to turn the recording off on here.